freedomtalkradio.co.uk.
Let's go!
This is the most diverse, most amazing, one of the funniest radio stations you could ever listen to on the internet. I've heard so much stuff from the ups, the downs, the left, the right.
The politics, the non-politics, the schmolitics, whatever you want to call them.
It's great.
Let's go!
Hi, this is Andy Peacher, the station manager of freedomtalkradio.net. You're listening to the Common Law Court of Wales show. Common law is common sense. Please email the show at the Common Law Court of Wales at outlook.com and visit their website on www.thecommonlawcourtofwales.co.uk. I repeat, the Common Law Court of Wales.co.uk. Call one of the live shows when the host invites you to call, and that's normally within the second hour. And the UK number is 01444 390 270. That's 01444 390 270. Please note, if we already have a call on the line, then you'll just have to be patient with us. From the US and Canada, it's 347-677-0812. And for the rest of the world, 001-347-677-0812. The aim of the Common Law Court of Wales is an open forum discussing solutions for the injustices forced upon us by an unaccountable government that no longer represents the interests of the people. Now here's your host.
Cheers, Andy. Darren Latham here, the host. I'll be the host this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to have you all with us. I see there's a few in the chat room already. I'll just give a shout out. Laura Latham's with us again, I can see. We've got Kevin and Brian, we've got Ellen and Pearl in Western Avenue. We've got Scottish Darren, is he there? We don't know. Yeah, so welcome everybody. We've got a fascinating guest this evening. His name is Patrick Cullinane. He's from over in Ireland. An Irish brother who we fight over there. Yeah, Patrick?
That's right, yes.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Darren.
Yeah, good.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
You too, Patrick. I'm sure we're going to have a great chat. What I usually do with our guests, Patrick, just for the sake of our listeners, is if you could give them a kind of brief outline of your journey to what brought you here, Patrick. You know, fighting this horrendous system that we face with today. You know. So, if you don't mind, you could just give us a brief detail of what got you started on this fight, and you know, and stuff like that, please.
Yeah, well, I'm Patrick Cullinane, and I'm a common law lawyer now. And what actually brought me here is that there is no justice in the UK. There is no due process in the UK. I didn't know. I was hoodwinked. I was taken into the court, the High Court, and I was taken advantage of. And there was actually 13 High Court judges ruled on my case. They bankrupted me, and they took a 4-bedroom house off of me and put me onto the street at 7 o'clock in the morning, 17 police officers and 6 High Court sheriffs. And they had no paperwork whatsoever to do it. And neither did I have due process, because Magna Carta 1215, I've now learned that it guarantees me due process by trial by my peers.
Well, apparently, but as we seem to be faced with on a day-to-day basis, we're finding out lately, Patrick, that this certainly isn't the case. I mean, I can't remember a time in history where the jury and the due process has been more detached from the people than it is now. I mean, in order to get an half-decent defence, if we can call it such thing, you'd have to mortgage your house. Then you've got to take into consideration that these so-called representatives of yours are taking an oath to the bar, which is essentially to the Crown, then put legalese into the mix. and we pretty much was pretty much totally against us and set up that way, Patrick. So
without doubt, it's an organised crime. It's an organised crime against the people.
Well,
on the 15th of June is the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta, 1215, signed and sealed at Runnymede. The judges and the legal shysters in the UK would like us all to believe that England has an unwritten constitution, when we have the best constitution in the world. Magna Carta 1215 is a great chapter.
Well, indeed, and it has certainly been it's been ratified over 30-odd times, but it absolutely does still is in effect today. There's no doubt about that. Please continue, Patrick.
Several countries, including America, have modelled their constitutions on Magna Carta.
You're quite right. Now, this goes to before Magna Carta, even with Alfred the Great and the Book of Dom. I think it was in 873. I may be wrong, but it was wrong about that time, which led, of course, into Magna Carta 1215, of which there's been 30 different ones, but that led into the Bill of Rights, 1668, 69, which is, you're quite right. Some of the American Constitution is absolutely based word for word on it.
Now, in my case, 13 High Court judges conspired with the IRS, Inland Revenue, now HMRC, the Insolvency Service, the Official Receiver, KPMG, my trustee in bankruptcy, Moonbeaver, my trustee solicitors, 4 MPs, the bailiffs, the police, 6 Lord Chancellors, CPS, 7 Attorney Generals, 4 parliamentary ombudsmen, 2 revenue adjudicators, solicitors, barristers, doctors, and psychiatrists to frame me up and defraud me of my home and my worldly possessions without due process, trial by my peers.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Patrick, please continue. Does
any of these people know about Magna Carta and my rights in common law to a trial by my equals? They've destroyed my life.
Well, yes.
It's not on my life. It's not on my life. They're doing it every day. I'm actually, it's a miracle that I'm still alive. But there's an awful lot of people and they're not alive. They've committed suicide. They've broken up families. They've destroyed families. They've broken up communities with the same thing. The police, they tell me when I reported the crime to the police, they told me that it's a civil matter. The robbery of my home and my possessions is a civil matter. So they're all working against the people. The police are not reporting crime. They're not recording crime. They're not investigating crime. So what is going on? And they are taking our taxpayers' money. So we're actually funding the enemy.
Well, not only that, Patrick. I mean, these corporations are all owned by the same parties in the private. I mean, just to give a small example of a different case, but it will back up exactly what you're saying, and it exposes the corruption. With myself, with the Child Support Agency, without due process or without any indication whatsoever, I found myself back in 2012 with quite a few £1,000s worth of debt levied against my name, which was being deducted from my pay, without me ever being in touch with the Child Support Agency, without me ever being in touch with the Magistrate Court, or without my employee giving me an heads up even. Now, when I investigated it further, it turns out that the Magistrate Court, for each pay deduction order, the verdict given, it gets a 7% pay on each deduction made. So every father that's out there are suffering from unlawful deductions by the child support agency, the magistrate court which put that against you is having a 7% slice of the pie, each and every deduction. Along with that, if your payroll department or whatever corporation you're working with is a member of the payroll alliance, then they have shares in the child support agency. Along with that is the employment rights of all employees. And under the Employment Act, I think it's Section 13, is the right not to suffer unlawful deductions. And it's written there in their own laws that no man is to be taking unfairly deducted money from his sweat and labour without his written or given consent, explicit consent. So when you find out that all these corporations are owned by the same people in the private and they're all taking a slice of the pie, you can see how rotten the system is. Now, I've got to give a shout out to this site because I managed to get most of this information out of a site called Deadbeat Dads. We've tried to get hold of the people on there to see whether they can come on and give us a shout, but I thought I'd give a shout out to them because most of the information was on the forum there with them. But the corruption is deep, Patrick, and it cuts to the bone with families. You're quite right. It's a family wrecker. The courts, the police, the doctors, as you say, they're all in cahoots. And we are under attack, or at least the family and the community as a whole are under attack by the system, aren't we?
We are indeed, and you see there's an awful lot of these people, and they're ignorant of the fact, like, they look at it like, if you jack, I'm all right, you know what I mean, but the battering ram will come to their door as well, because it's only yet, because it's so corrupt.
Absolutely.
Like, talking there about the magistrate courts, the magistrate courts are not the courts of law at all, because you've got to have a court of record. Every magistrate court in the country, there's no stenographer in them. And they're not courts of records, therefore, they are commercial kangaroo courts. And they're only there for the money.
That's exactly what they are. And provable, too, that each and every one of these is not only a corporation, but some of them have got county court judgments against themselves. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, Patrick.
Oh, it is crazy. It's absolutely, well, it's criminal. It's organised crime. This is against the people. And as you say, it's breaking up the communities and it's taking children from good families. And what are they doing with them? We see the children, we see those two children, I don't know if you've seen that, Darren, on Hampstead.
No, I'm not caught up with that yet, Patrick, to be fair. No, I've heard a little bit about it, but nothing to get to be able to go into. What have we got for us?
Well, it's absolutely sickening, right? What we actually see, and it's sickening an awful lot of people. And now they're being dealt with inside in a secret court, and no member of the public is allowed into the courts. And of course, the people that are dealing with it are actually the people that are involved in the paedophilia, and those are the people that will be selected. And
of course, we see this with the BS investigation they got with U3 and the rest of the establishment. This paedophilia issue, it is the theme that seems to be running through the whole of the higher echelons of this system. Wouldn't you agree, Patrick? It's no denying it. I mean, we got this.
All part and parcel. It's all part and parcel of the people that are actually controlling. They're not running. They're controlling the whole thing.
Yeah.
And of course,
for anyone who's wondering, I just got to give them a few researchers to look at. I mean, you've got if you look at the work of Fritz Springmeier, he showed in great detail, harrowing detail too, what these people put their victims through, and I mean it's horrific. There's also other survivors like Cathy O'Brien who have documented what these people get up to in these rituals, and it goes all the way to the top. I mean, this thing the other day with Prince Andrew slipped under the radar very quietly. But I mean, the names on that Epstein's list was incredible. I mean, you had the Donald Trumps and the Bill Clintons, and even then you had the likes of Professor Stephen Hawking. I mean, I've seen photographs of him there on this Epstein's Island with these young terrified girls around them, you know, and it's truly sickening, Patrick.
Oh, it's truly sickening. And these are the people that are in power, and they've got to be taken out of power. It's as simple as that. And of course, the only way we can actually take them out of power is through the courts and the law. We've got to apply the common law, and we've got to go into the courts and demand our rights.
Well, not only that, Patrick, I know you'd agree that it's become our duty. We are duty bound as people, as men, as women, that when a system is no longer representative of the people, then we are duty bound to take action. Now, there's absolutely no doubt about it that this government, this system, the courts and everything, as we documented and others before us have done, it doesn't represent us. It's a joke to even suggest it. So there are mechanisms that have been put there in times gone past in order to counterbalance this, because this is, when I say this, systems and tyrannical governments have come and gone in the past, and mechanisms have been placed there by the people for which to be invoked for such times. Can we start going into them a bit, Patrick? Because these are where the solutions lie, my friend, I believe, don't they?
Well, I agree with what you're saying there 100%. And, of course, Magna Carta was put there to rein in the corrupt governments and we'll say the king. And Magna Carta will still rein in, we'll say the governments, the corrupt governments, because we will demand our rights to due process by trial by jury, and to be tried by our peers.
And that's the kicker.
Do not stand for trial by a judge. A judge is a public servant. He's paid by the state, and he's sitting in judgment of his masters, we the people. It's madness. It's madness.
It is indeed. And I mean, the principle behind having a free jury of the people is to keep these governments and these so-called principalities in check. Is it not, Patrick? I mean, that's the whole point.
That's what it's for. You're 100% right. I agree with you 100%. But the people have got to get off their ass and get out there and demand their rights. I mean, to say how many courts up and down the country we'll say today, and they're all commercial kangaroo courts, and no one is asking for a jury trial, and they're just going in and paying up, and are going out and committing suicide. So why go out and commit suicide when you can go in and demand your rights? Put up a fight. Don't die for nothing.
No, you're quite right. I mean, there's not enough people standing up and biting down on the gum shield and getting stuck in there. I mean, they get on this process, the conveyor belt, it takes them through the magistrate courts, they're scared, they're shell-shocked, and it's just, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir, and they're out the other end to become a good little debt slave, and they thank the magistrate for it as they go out the door. It's sickening. And I mean, they are in a state of shock. They have to be, because I can't imagine how they would, fall for it for so long. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of research to find out exactly what the score is. Even more so with the invention of the internet. These people got no excuse now, Patrick. They're just plainly ignorant if they do not stand by their brothers and sisters and allow this thievery to go on. What do you think?
Well, that's what I say. That they've got to get out and fight, because they're going to be killed anyway, and they've got to lose their fear. They've got to lose their fear because they're going to be robbed, and we'll say the judges and the system, they're playing on that fear.
It's the main tool. I mean, from the writing on letters that they send, you know, the colour, it's red, and the you know, it's all threatening, we're going to come around, we're going to smash your door in, we'll take all your gear. I mean, it's absolutely, I mean, I remember seeing a TV advert, not when I used to watch TV, and it was like, if you were watching TV without a licence, you're going to get caught, or if you don't bloody pay your tax, you know, you're going to jail, and your neighbour's watching you, and this, that, and the other. I mean, very, very similar to other regimes that's come and gone in the past. And that's how they control people, is by making them think that the boogeyman's around the corner, and, you know, he's going to come and get you any time. So pay your taxes to Caesar and be a good little slave.
You've got the bailiffs, and you've got the police going around with them with their battering rams, and
facilitating it. They're absolutely facilitating in the crime and the treason, by the way.
Right, it's high treason. It's high treason to the hanging offence, and we'll have to go back to it. And when they'll see a few hanging up off Ramos, then they'll think about it, about breaking the law. They're breaking the law. If anyone breaks the law, they should be brought to book.
Well, when absolutely.
Because the people won't get out and say enough is enough, and they should be out of the courts in the thousands until we've cleaned them up. In the thousands.
Well,
you see them at the football matches.
Well, that's it. It's bread and circus for the masses, isn't it? I mean, all get drunk on the weekend and back to work on Monday morning. I mean, you know, this is nothing new. They just put the games on the weekend, and you know, it's exactly the same as in Roman times, and it was called bread and circuses back then. But again, that empire fell. I mean, these things only have a certain life span, so to speak, and we seem to be coming to the end of this financial debt-based Ponzi scheme, and that's the whole franchise, by the way, across the whole private Western banking system. Now, whether they've been able to collapse the economies before and pull the rug from underneath the people in order to reset these schemes, the people have been wandering around like headless chickens after it. I feel this time there's more of us more aware, Patrick, and with the internet, I mean, they're not able to get it started. What's your thoughts on that, Pat?
Well, I don't know. There is a lot of information out on the internet now. If the people just go in and have a look at it, and look at the people that are actually working the courts, and that it's actually successful, and have actually tried it, like due process and trial by jury. It's a lawful requirement that the state must respect all the lawful rights that are owed to a person.
Well,
due process balances the power of the law of the land and protects individual persons from it.
Well,
When the government harms a person without following the exact course of the law, this constitutes a due process violation which offends against the rule of law. Now,
okay. Sorry, Patrick, but you're quite right, sir. Now, whereas it's self-evident and it's obvious and plain for anyone to see that these courts no longer represent us, and are never going to, whilst the system still remains. So, just to rewind and change gears just slightly, this is why it's essential. This is why these mechanisms are being put in place. Is for when these times come, that we are able to form our own courts for the people. And this is very much a solution which seems to be the way forward within the common law now, because they're simply ignoring us on every other level, Patrick, aren't they?
Exactly. They're ignoring us. And they're actually terrorists. They've ganged up together. All of the police, the bailiffs, the local councils, the courts. And I mean, there's a partnership. There's partnerships. The local council, the magistrate court, and the police. They're in partnership.
Absolutely.
You know that. They're actually in partnership.
Oh, not only that, but they're owned by the same people in the private.
Right.
And that's provable. I mean, I'd urge our listeners to go and have a look for yourself, listen to myself and Patrick, and check these things out, and you'll find out that it's actually true. Now, I hope to be joined in the second hour with a guest, or phoned in the show not so long ago, Patrick.
Yeah.
His name is
Nilo Berry.
No, Nilo's going to come on, and we've also got Rosemary Dalton. Will be coming on from Missouri. Excuse me, I couldn't get it from the pronunciation out there. Yes, well, we were banging about an idea about a crime to one, inhumanity is a crime to all. Now, we live in a time where we're able to contact our brothers and sisters on different continents who are all under the jackboot of this same private Western banking Ponzi franchise, private banking franchise. And we were talking about solutions. Now, we know about how we can set up grand juries and invoke common law courts and how that would be the highest court in the land by two. And the times we are in are absolutely the times for which these mechanisms were put in. Well, with the internet, how do you feel about being able to do things on an international level via things like Skype and other mediums, Patrick? Could we hold them account not just on a local, national, but couldn't we do it on an international level? Because this Ponzi scheme is on every Western banking continent, basically. And
I got evidence of it. I've done cases in Ireland, I've done cases in America, and I've done cases here in the UK. And the framework is exactly the same, and they're the same people. My brother in America was robbed of over $1 million.
okay.
And without due process again. If he had due process, there is no way that there would be over £1 million taken off of him. And if I had due process here, it's compensation I'd have got.
Yeah, well,
This is what's happening. There is nobody safe. And you're only as rich as a judge's order. He can take you out.
well, that's right. And I mean, they can take you out without a judge. I mean, on a social, we got some pensioners around here, right, who have lost their partners late in life, and you've got the social services sniffing around like rats. And the gig is, under the banner of sustainable development, is that they'll say that the old man or old lady is a bit vulnerable. They'll get the doctor then to say, yeah, he's a bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
Then off you go to the private home for the best chemical lobotomy that money can buy, because they're selling your house to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're stealing people's houses to pay for the chemicals which they are forced upon them whilst in private care. And we've all seen the videos coming out of those places and the kind of people they recruit to look after our elderlies. But it gets ignored, and it continues. But it's going to be your gran, it's going to be your dad, it's going to be you, it's going to be me, it's going to be my daughter, it's going to be my son. So people, you need to get up. Take a look at those videos. Have a look how they treat our elderlies, in our Western system. I mean, you have a look at any other people, culture, come and gone. Let's take the North American Indians. Any culture, the elders are the wisest in the village. The elders are the ones you go to for advice in every culture. They are the wise, they are the elders. Not in our society. No, we've ripped the heart out of our society. We banged our our grandparents up. And you people who sit there and you watch, you see how they're treated, and you ignore it. You can't ignore it no more. Cannot be ignored no more. You can't, Patrick, can they?
No. You're right, Darren, when you say that they're actually robbing the people now without the judges, without going to the judges. Eric Pickles, who is the Minister for Communities and Local Government, he's presiding over the local governments, and they are actually issuing warrants to bailiffs now on the penalty charge notice for parking, PCNs. And Andy there, he was a victim of one of those. We're all victims. We're all victims of it. I've got about 4 of them here, but I won't be paying them. And it's as simple as that. I'd be taking them to court. And but Andy recently, he was saying there that he got one of his mails was rejected by the penalty charge notice adjudicator, and on the grounds it was absolutely mad. Like I've actually got a copy of that, his correspondence, and I scanned it into my correspondence and I put it out around the world. But Andy apparently has got victory. He's got victory owing to the publicity that the PCN attracted. They've squashed it.
That's right. I believe they have made him an offer.
Offer, yeah.
Yeah, they've made him an offer. I think he conditionally accept that one, provided they give him full bona fide proof of their claim and the commercial liability and the penalty perjury, of course. That he cannot speak about it on social media, because I believe that's a little clause they slipped in. Andy, was it?
Yeah, at the bottom it says, please note that this decision is made in good faith and on the basis that the matter maintains strictly confidential and not to be shared on social media websites.
So there we go. They're not saying nothing, anything. Oh, nice one, Andy. Yeah. I just like to say, yeah, just a shout out. The second hour shall be great. We hopefully be joined by Neil O'Chowdhury and Reverend Rosemary Dalton from Missouri. We're going to throw about the idea of trying to get some international going with the technologies that's available today, Patrick.
Yes. Well, I am actually working with groups from Ireland now and America. And John Wilson, I don't know if you know John Wilson in Australia.
No, not come across John's work as of yet, Patrick.
Well, I'll be able to share it with you now, and we'll all network, because they're all networking, so we will. And we've got the law on our side. We've got right on our side. They don't. They're committing high treason. So they had better be scared, because we're coming after them. They're not going to get away and rob me of a 4-bedroom house, or anyone else that I know of neither. Now, they're doing exactly the same thing over there in Ireland. If you actually go into court and ask for a jury trial, they'll actually jail you. That's exactly what happened to Patrick Lynch on the 12th of January. He went in to represent Michael Vaughan, who was actually being attacked by the local council over there, and they were after his land and his home, and he went in anyway, and he asked for a jury trial. I actually done the application for him, and anyway, he was arrested. He was arrested and he was jailed for a week.
Good grief.
Yeah, jailed for a week over in Cork City, the Cork Circuit Court. And he got no due process neither. And he was fined. He was fined €900. And they said there was an affray in the court. But the video that was taken, the secret video that was taken inside in the court, don't show any affray.
There we go. And this is what they're scared of. This is why they threaten us with prison for taking cameras in.
You will not be sent to prison for taking cameras in, because these are criminals.
You're quite right, sir, but that's the threat, isn't it?
That's the threat. That's the threat. Take in cameras. Take in cameras. If everyone is taking in cameras, we'll soon run these criminals out.
Indeed, and we've got to take in cameras. Everybody.
In cameras, right? We're going to take an action against them people over now in Cork. And the local paper, right, who the Cork Irish Examiner. And they done a damning report on Patrick Lynch. And they're all working together. All of the media's, there's 96% of the media is owned by six Jewish companies. 96% of it. So we get no voice.
Right, and I mean, they've slowly done this over time. When I say they, I mean the Zionist Satanists that, I mean, they got no affiliation to any religion. They hide behind Judaism at the moment, but I mean, if you look into the history, they come from the Ukrainian area, and after they slice and dice the Middle East, after the World Wars, then they were put over there to cause maximum havoc, to keep these countries suppressed in order for the crown and empire to continue. I mean, again, this is provable fact. I mean, they've created every war, every false flag event, everything that all these dictatorial measures have been brought in, not because of acts of terrorists or any or such things, but by this global network of
terrorists. They are terrorists.
Yeah, they are the terrorists. You're quite right, Patrick.
They are the terrorists.
And it's becoming more and more evident each day. I mean, the way they're trying to spin what's going over in Ukraine at the moment. I mean, the way they're trying to spin everything, the financial markets, the crime that's going on there, every figure the government throws out is a complete lie in order to keep this Ponzi scheme afloat. I mean, they printed more money the last 2 years than the previous 200 years of commerce in the whole world. That's right. With this quantitative easing gig, which is now spread across every central bank, they've actually printed more worthless paper money and put our kids in debt. They've printed more money the last 2 years than the previous 200. And we are saddled with that debt. Our children are saddled with it. The generations on the line are saddled with it. Straight off the bat, the minute they registered as birth. Collateral out to these private banksters who just facilitating the needs of the Crown and these other Zionist organisations that have taken over most religions and things like this. Provable within the corporate structure. You can see how they're all working, the Vatican Bank and the Bank of England, and they're all in cahoots, all facilitating the satanic Zionist idea. I mean, it is there. It's documented and quite researchable. So yes, Patrick, you're right.
Yeah, well, they're actually creating false flags to oppress us further. And of course, the oppression is they're robbing us, and there's nobody safe in their house now, in their homes. A home isn't a home no more, because you've got bailiffs and you've got the police attacking them up and down the country, and they've got no paperwork. They haven't come through court, and this is what's actually going on. Now the MPs are in on this. I've had 4 MPs. I've had Nick Hubb, Garrett Thomas, Barry Gardner, and Sir Rhodes Bison on my case, and every one of them told me, "Oh, we're hitting brick walls. We're hitting brick walls." But none of them, not one of them, went to the press because they knew to be no good, because there was 96% of it was owned by the criminals. They never actually went to the press, none of them. But they said that they were hitting brick walls. Now, this is replicated throughout all of my cases, all the clients, right? And there's at least 2,000 of them there. And this is what all the MPs are saying. There's none of them resolving the cases. You can see what's after happening there with Jack Straw. He knows all about my case. I served him with a document inside in Portculloch House, and which I've actually put out there now tonight, out around the world, right? Jack Straw, and you know he's charging £5,000 a day. Well, I couldn't afford to give him £5,000. I would have been able to, only I was robbed of all my belongings and my home and my money. But he is charging now, outside of his work as an MP, £5,000. That's good work if you can get it.
Oh, standard practice for these boys, man. While we're all freezing in the house, I'm not allowed to have a fag in the pub. These boys are laughing their heads off, so Lord, puffing Cuban cigars, and laughing at us. I mean, just look at the money Blair have made. Sickening.
All on crime.
Sickening.
A war criminal. Sir Malcolm Rifkin. Right, another one. And look at all the paedophiles. And all MPs. And none of them. And they all on the gravy train. Every one of them. And none of them will be brought to justice while they're alive. They're waiting for them to die, to expose it and frighten us then that none of these people have been brought to justice. None of them.
Well, yes, and you can see that with the likes of Savile and
yeah,
and other yeah, the list goes on. The list goes on.
And they're all knighted. They're all knighted, right?
That's it. It's like a badge of honour to them.
Have they knighted Andy? Have they knighted you, Darren? And the work you're doing?
Well, certainly not. And I mean, I wouldn't accept such a thing. I mean, it's these people. I mean, you see how close Jimmy Savile was to the royal family. You couldn't get closer. The things that man was able to do, and things like that, absolutely sickening stuff. But fact it is. Now, let's get to it. The system, we know, is corrupt, it's full of Satanists, and they got the agenda to facilitate their own. They got no interest in serving the people, never have, never will. So, we've got to get to it. We're doing our own courts, and it's under law, mechanisms have been put there. We are going to try these people. They think they're going to die out and not get away with it, but I think they got a shock coming, Patrick, because the people are going to try them, aren't they? It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that, and they've got to. These people have got to be brought to justice. By hook or by crook. These people they're going to destroy the world. They're so greedy that they're going to destroy the world. And
yes.
they won't even be able to live. There'll be no one able to live. We've got to rein these people in.
Indeed we have. So what we do, we go through the grassroots level, we form our juries there. We try to make people, because they can't actually implement these plans without having our own people to do it to us. So I mean, what would you suggest? Would you go straight for the head, Patrick, or would you start at the bottom and start reeling these people in and around our community, you know, these secret society types and whatnot?
Well, the thing about it is it's got to be through the courts, and the courts are ours, the people's courts. You cannot get away from that, because the courts are going to bring us relief. That's what it was.
Do you really believe that their courts and their system, the way it's set up, I mean, they've abandoned the people, and surely we got to make our own courts. We've got to go back to the juries.
If I go into the court, I will run the judges out of it. I will not stand for crap, right? I will run them out of it. It's simple as that. Enough people have seen me do it, right? But I can't see many more people.
freedomtalkradio.co.uk.
Let's go!
This is the most diverse, most amazing, one of the funniest radio stations you could ever listen to on the internet. I've heard so much stuff from the ups, the downs, the left, the right.
The politics, the non-politics, the schmolitics, whatever you want to call them.
It's great.
Let's go!
Hi, this is Andy Peacher, the station manager of freedomtalkradio.net. You're listening to the Common Law Court of Wales show. Common law is common sense. Please email the show at the Common Law Court of Wales at outlook.com and visit their website on www.thecommonlawcourtofwales.co.uk. I repeat, the Common Law Court of Wales.co.uk. Call one of the live shows when the host invites you to call, and that's normally within the second hour.
By trial by my peers.
Well, apparently, but as we seem to be faced with on a day-to-day basis, we're finding out lately, Patrick, that this certainly isn't the case. I mean, I can't remember a time in history where the jury and the due process has been more detached from the people than it is now. I mean, in order to get an half-decent defence, if we can call it such thing, you'd have to mortgage your house. Then you've got to take into consideration that these so-called representatives of yours are taking an oath to the bar, which is essentially to the Crown, then put legalese into the mix, and it's pretty much totally against us and set up that way, Patrick. So
without doubt, it's an organised crime. It's an organised crime against the people.
Well,
on the 15th of June is the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta, 1215, signed and sealed.
And the UK number is 01444 390 270. That's 01444 390 270. Please note, if we already have a call on the line, then you'll just have to be patient with us. From the US and Canada, it's 347-677-0812. And for the rest of the world, 001-347-677-0812. The aim of the Common Law Court of Wales is an open forum discussing solutions for the injustices forced upon us by an unaccountable government that no longer represents the interests of the people. Now here's your host.
Cheers, Andy. Darren Latham here, the host. I'll be the host this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to have you all with us. Actually, there's a few in the chat room already. I'll just give a shout out. Laura Latham's with us again, I can see. We've got Kevin and Brian, the Dice to Ellen and Pearl in Western Avenue. We've got Scottish Darren, is he there? We don't know. So welcome everybody. We've got a fascinating guest this evening. His name is Patrick Cullinane. He's from over in Ireland. An Irish brother who fight over there. Is that Patrick?
That's right, yes.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Darren.
Yeah, good.
Good to meet you.
You too, Patrick. I'm sure we're going to have a great chat. What I usually do with our guests, Patrick, just for the sake of our listeners, is if you could give them a kind of brief outline of your journey to what brought you here, Patrick. Fighting this horrendous system that we face with today. So if you don't mind, you could just give us a brief detail of what got you started on this fight and and stuff like that, please.
Yeah, well, I'm Patrick Cullinane, and I'm a common law lawyer now. And what actually brought me here is that there is no justice in the UK. There is no due process in the UK. I didn't know. I was hoodwinked. I was taken into the court, the High Court, and I was taken advantage of. And there was actually 13 High Court judges ruled on my case. They bankrupted me, and they took a 4-bedroom house off of me, and put me onto the street at 7 o'clock in the morning, 17 police officers and 6 High Court sheriffs. And they had no paperwork whatsoever to do it. And neither did I have due process, because Magna Carta 1215, I've now learned that it guarantees me due process.